how to stand out in 2024, because to me there's so much opportunity in permanent jewelry, and most people are just doing the same boring marketing tactics or not even doing that much marketing. And so I'm going to show you guys how to really stand out in your market. 80% of business is mindset to begin with, because if you know, you can have all the best tactics, the strategies, the scripts, and if your mind's not right, you're not going to do anything. You're going to lay in bed, you're going to watch Netflix, you're going to be depressed, you're going to live by fear. And so you've got to get your mind right before any of that other stuff even matters. Most people do not know what permanent jewelry is. Maybe they've heard about it, maybe they saw it on Netflix, but there's still a wide open market. And the problem I'm seeing is everyone is doing the same basic marketing tactics or no marketing tactics at all, and hitting the same exact audience. And then they're all fighting over the same little events and same few people. And then they're like, well, it's too saturated. And that's because they're all fighting in the same little pond. I want to show you guys how to go to the whole ocean of people out there, of potential customers. You know the difference between a true entrepreneur and someone who's just trying to make a quick buck. There's a big difference. A true entrepreneur is always looking for ways like, how can I use my skills and my abilities to help other people, whether it's help them have a great experience with permanent jewelry, whether it's help them look better with some kind of, beauty service. You're always looking for ways to help people. How they're going to stand out in their market right now. Let's give them some tactical advice.
Yeah, so standing out against the competition is probably my favorite topic, because to me, the first point, and this kind of goes a little bit back to mindset, is I look at my competitors and I see what they're doing. And then what I like to do is kind of come up with the complete opposite of what they're doing. For example, 99% of my competitors don't realize the value of social media marketing. That's just one example. Or 99% of my competitors, for those of you who, we all have two things. We have either time or we have money to invest. So either time to invest or money to invest, right? And if I am short on money to invest, then that means I need to have the time to work on my business. So for those of you who are struggling with that right now, my number one thing I love to do when it comes to my competition is really go out and connect with individuals. Now, that's been a topic that's talked about in so many Facebook groups, is how do I connect? How do I reach out? There's a million and one ways, okay? And in fact, for a lot of you, you get frustrated with, okay, yes, I've tried DMing. Who here has tried DMing businesses on Instagram? I want to ask that. Who here has tried DMing businesses?
What do you mean by DMing businesses? Can you clarify?
Direct messaging businesses on Instagram.
Tony makes a good point and kind of exemplifies this. Is sometimes, like, when you're learning these things, it's one thing to learn a tactic or learn a strategy, but Tony Robbins has a term that I use all the time that I love. It's called massive action. And most people don't realize, especially new people in the entrepreneurship world, don't realize how much massive action it takes to get momentum going. And unfortunately, I mean, I won't say unfortunately, because it's kind of a good thing, because if it was easy, everybody would do it, but it does scare off a lot of people. It's just like whether you start a fitness routine or whether you try to break a certain habit or addiction. Growing a business takes massive and consistent action. And so if you're just like, oh yeah, Tony told me to DM a business, and you do it a few times and you're like, well, this didn't really work, and you stop, you're never going to succeed. You have to take consistent action.
So, and to put it in frame of reference, I know for especially those of you who are in a small town, you're like, Tony, there's not a lot of businesses I can DM. There's not a lot of this. There's not a lot of that. Okay. Here's the thing. If there's not a lot of businesses in your town to DM, each one of those businesses has an Instagram, right? So business is all about really making connections. So let's say you're a permanent jewelry artist just starting out and you're in a very small town. Well, who's your ideal audience of who would want this? Let's look at the influencers that are in your town. Let's go look at the local roller rink, for example, skating rink, right? Or bowling alley. Who's like those Instagram pages? And start DMing the local Chuck E. Cheese. Start DMing all those moms. And instead of a bowling alley party, instead of a Chuck E. Cheese party, instead of a roller rink party, DM them, say, hey, I noticed that you follow our local skating rink. I would love to give you another option for an amazing birthday event. If you are open to it, I'd love to connect. If you're struggling for parties and things like that, and you want to book private events, well, and then make a list of everybody in your local town, every business in your local town that is party specific. For most people, they don't even realize permanent jewelry is a thing. So stop looking at your competition and how much competition you have, and look at the same amount of opportunity you have in your town, right?
See, my permanent jewelry business in Chicago, so I'm like a percentage partner. We started that a few months ago. She needed to get some more events booked up for this year. And this was a few weeks ago. I was like, hey, you need to go in there. You need to DM these businesses, say this, use Tony's script. She booked 17 events within a matter of, I think, a week. 17 events for the year. So that's probably, let's say she makes an average of 1,000 to 2,000 from those events per event. That's $17,000 to $40,000 worth of potential revenue or more, just from taking a week and DMing some business and reaching out and getting herself out there.
Success is a decision. You can decide tomorrow to say, okay, I'm going to get that script, and I am personally for 1 month straight, going to DM XXXXXXX. And I've worked with many PJ artists who are like, yes, I'm doing it. Yes, it's worked. It's amazing. Then I've seen several artists. They're like, Tony, it doesn't work. And then I go back and say, okay, well, let me look at your Instagram DM and see actually the work you put in. And then they say, oh, I don't want you to see it. Why don't you want me to see it? Because you weren't willing to put in the work.
You start doing multiple tactics, things start to really add up.
That's one for the night.
Yeah, you're starting to get lots of momentum. And so what do I mean by momentum? Well, let's say you start doing events, people start coming in. Well, guess what? Now they can refer people to you. Now they can give you a review. Now they can tell others about you. And so not only are your tactics working, but now all of a sudden people are spreading the word for you. And then let's say you have some ads going and people are starting to see you there too. And so you're basically hitting your marketing from all sides. And it really snowballs. The way you get to the point where you can actually step away from your business, maybe take a vacation without losing your income, maybe having people working for you, is just that, building systems and things that are scalable. And then you can hire people, you can have people working for you, you can have people managing for you. And that's the pathway to being a business owner that maybe in the future you can sell your business, because that's a lot of things. Like at some point, you guys are all going to retire. And so being able to sell that business as an asset is like a double, it increases your net worth a lot, essentially, as opposed to just being self-employed into a business. Because here's the thing, guys, when I look at market, when I simplify marketing, it's like, okay, here's what marketing is to me, besides getting it, like attention is obviously super important. But, if I were to take 3 of you and you were standing in front of me and I was like, okay, why should I consider, why should I pick one over the other? All of those marketing tactics and all those marketing strategies summarize into that. And so, yes, there's a lot that goes into it, like content, ads, messaging, or like your brand, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's how do you stand out? Because guess what? If you guys all look the same, here's my quiz to you guys. I mean, it's a softball question, but we'll see how many people can get it quickly. If all 3 of these people standing in front of me look exactly the same as far as their business goes, what am I going to base my decision off of? If every business looks about the same, and here's why I say the same, because a lot of you are like, well, I'm unique. Well, guess what? Your Instagram looks exactly the same as another permanent jewelry. Like a lot of Instagrams I see look about the same. And so if I'm not really doing that much research and I'm just an event coordinator and I'm like, okay, which one I'm going to pick? Or maybe not even event coordinator, maybe I'm a potential client. And I'm just like, okay, which one I'm going to pick? I'm going to base it off of price if I don't have any other factors. And so, yes, you guys gave a lot of great qualities that you should have. But at the end of the day, if people are just asking how much and they're just basing their decision off price, it means you're not getting, your unique selling points across to them.
That DMing strategy is an amazing strategy. Like I personally, I run paid ads on Facebook and Instagram very strategically. However, I also couple that with DMing, and it works beautifully. It's like, I now I'm starting to get, I've seen your ad. So now I become way more relatable.